Hello, hello, loves. This is JAH with the continuance of our twin flame journey within ourselves. Now, something that I always tell people is come prepared and do it correctly. What does this mean when you come prepared for yourself? Setting yourself up for success daily. If you know that you have a hard time waking up every day, set 4 alarms just so you know that you set yourself right up for the day to get up, give yourself the time to really relax. I wake up, I set 4 alarms literally. Wake up once, sit the snooze, then I go back to sleep, and then when I wake up again, I'm like, all right, I'm awake now. Then I get up and I realize, oh, I don't have to be to work for another hour or so. That's when I get to meditate, I get to relax, I get to hang out with the cat, I get to make the home look good. I love to come home to a made bed and a clean house. That's just my preference. It makes me feel like I'm walking into a whole new space. So I make sure I get up and do that every morning. Every single morning I do that. That sets my day up to be prepared because now I'm mentally in a place where I'm not getting up, rushing out of the door, then I get to work late, or then I feel distressed, and then I got to drink coffee, and then I have to do all these things to counteract me just coming prepared for myself. When you do this, you're telling yourself that not only do I need the divine feminine to have that moment of clarity and relaxation and coming to a place of peace, I need my divine masculine to set that structure, which is the body, the ego, the shell. Remember, we are all, everything is one. Just like these trees and everything on the ground that was a seed at one point that grew into something else, we are all seeds, and it contains all of that creation. It contains all of the life that makes us who we are. So if we're not protecting it, just like the sun has to come out and it needs to give its light to everything that breathes, those things have to find a way to protect themselves from that heat, even though it needs the light. It's the same difference for ourselves. When you find balance in your daily life and in your daily happenings, and you just set a small routine, it doesn't have to be something that's rigid and you count it, set my shirts up like this and count 5 by 5 this. No, no, no. But if organizing in that manner helps you without becoming OCD, then perfect. What I mean overall is that anything that I do when it comes to my divine masculine, which is how I protect myself, and my divine feminine, which is how I nurture myself, you have to set your time in your day to do so, which sets you up for your week, which sets you up for your month, which sets you up for the year. Every little day is a cell, and just like ourselves, we have to treat each cell of the day as if we're taking care of our body if we got sick. And if something is messing up the cycle or the system, if staying up late is starting to mess up your cycle, then change your system. If you're starting to do things where you're taking on too much and you realize that it's messing up your cycle, then you're going to have to stop and reevaluate what brings value to your life. This is important because when you decide that you are now on a spiritual twin flame journey and you're going back out into the world and you're interacting with other people, and let's say you did wake up and you didn't have enough time to get ready and you didn't set your day for your routine and give yourself time to love on yourself the way you should properly, and you meet that person that you say you've been wanting to meet, but you got an attitude. And you too pissed off about how somebody was driving slow and threw off your whole day, and now you in a mood and you didn't set yourself up for success and you didn't come prepared and you didn't come for yourself. So now that person's like, sucks for the person that has to wake up next to that. And then right there, you set yourself into a place of how you decided to present yourself that day as the energy that you decided to reflect, but you also deflected things that were meant to come to you. If you stop and think about this, we all do this. Sometimes it's annoying when anyone tells you to smile. I hate when people smile. You got such pretty teeth. You know what I mean? It's more or less like it's not about you, but I get where they think they're coming from. But more or less, you really never really know what's the purpose of that person coming into your life that day in that moment to say, smile, because they can be teaching you a lesson. It can be teaching you a moment of it's not about me actually smiling. It's about the control they think they have, the control they think I'm giving away, the control I think they have, and the control I think I'm giving away. When you make a decision on either one of these, you just gave yourself options of choice. Then you make a decision. Okay, well, maybe I'm just taking it the wrong way and they're doing this. No, they meant it how they meant it. But you gave yourself the opportunity to either react or suppress. And when you acknowledged it, you realized it wasn't me, it was them. You don't have to take any of that energy with you, and you go about your day. Whatever that means to you and how you set up that scenario, because it can be any which way. I was the person receiving the negative energy, and you were the person not realizing that you were being the character which deflects that energy. Even if you didn't really mean for that way to come off to that person, you're not going to make everyone happy. That's not about this life. But it is your journey to recognize when you have control over situations that you can possibly just say, you know what, this is not their energy, so let me not hand it to them. Anything you do in life, when it comes to school, when it comes to work, yes, there's jobs that we apply to, that we go to every day and say we don't want to work, but you have to look at it in this way. I have the opportunity to realize this is not my heart, but it brings me a function to give me rent, to give me food in this moment while I prepare myself for the next thing. Versus being in a place of scarcity with nothing, and then you have to only focus on survival skills. When you're focused on survival skills, you're not worried about taking care of prioritizing your loves, you're worried about surviving. So this is how we start paying attention to how we start setting the tone of our lives, how we start attracting certain things into our lives, how we start attracting certain relationships into our lives. When you can see that, then you start reflecting on who you are and what makes you happy. This is what makes you happy. Whatever keeps you calm is what makes you happy. Whatever makes you look forward to something is what you consider fun. These are all your decisions. This is not someone else's. But if it has a repercussion of destructiveness that can like ripple effect and physically hurt someone, mentally hurt yourself, that's when it starts to fall into the lines of shadow work, addictions, things that we haven't dealt with but we want to use to capitalize on why we're deflecting it onto the world. It's making excuses. So we have to remember to try not to make an excuse or accept this expectation or explanation that society has given us, but to really reflect on how am I applying what really makes me happy in the moments of truth when I know I'm uncomfortable and I don't want to deal with it. That's when we can shift to, well, you know what? At least I'm breathing, at least I'm walking, at least I have a purpose. This is when it becomes full circle and you start to recognize that, the duality lies inside of me. So finding that duality and sticking to it is what brings you back together to your divine feminine, which is your creative side, your nurturing side, your loving side, and your divine masculine, which is your protection side, your get it done side, your application side. And the two of these have to marry each other to come in a union within yourself to say, you know what, I have all these creative ideas that I want to do, but I don't have the drive to do it. That means that you have to start fostering more love to your divine masculine side, which is saying, hey, you have a purpose bigger than the ideals that wander around in this brain of yours. That again is part of the function of the ego that really doesn't know what it is unless it has a purpose. That's when you have to get back in touch to your divine feminine, which is your creation, the womb of where everything starts, and you don't even know how it forms or what it does. We can only speculate and stipulate and all these things and make simulations and put cameras in, but really when it happens, there's nothing there for us to see. We just have to trust how we feel, which is the growth, the moment of silence when things are just moving around and you don't know what they're doing, but they're creating, they're making chemistry, they're coming up with new things that are fundamentally going to work for you and adapt quicker. So when you take the divine feminine within you and you take the divine masculine within you and you start to balance out both needs, cutting your fingernails, taking care of your toes, working out, divine masculine, writing down your thoughts, singing, listening to music, doing things that make you feel like you're gentle and sensual, divine feminine, making sure that you go out and you see your friends and you have fun and you talk to your loved ones and that you're physically doing things. That's divine masculine. Divine feminine, making sure you get enough rest, making sure you hydrate, making sure you're taking care of your skin. These are all things that are necessary for you as one to be unison within yourself, so that when that heart mind comes in contact with your actual heart memory, it starts to remember how to love itself. And that's where self-care, self-love comes into place. And you're able to see now that everything in your daily happenings happened because you decided how you wanted to accept either the patterns which you set forth for your routine or the ripple effect of someone else's patterns who did not set forth any type of routine and had no content or any type of emotional value applied to it. Because remember, there's people who just wake up every day and just say, fuck it, let's see what happens. And that's okay, but Those are the ones you run into and you're like, oh, why are there people like them that exist? Because they're not taking the time to focus on themselves, and they're not taking the time to really love themselves. And when you have that opportunity to recognize that, hey, I can love myself while not giving them my energy, but I can at least allow them to love themselves through the process of what they need right now. Because you can be upset, and I'm not going to get upset with you. I'm going to say, well, that's energy, you got, honey. If you upset, you upset. You have every right. Yeah. Hey, that's crazy. That's crazy. I don't even care if they're if they are in the right or wrong, what we consider right or wrong. I'm going to say, that's how you feel. That's how you feel, man. That's all you can do for anybody. If it starts becoming a conflict, that means you're exchanging energy with someone that you either you don't want to or need to, and that means it's a direct reflection of the shadow work that's still left in you. And it's a very tit for tat for a while, but that's how we stop becoming reactionary, because when you keep checking yourself, or if you feel the need to check someone else constantly, once in a while, don't get me wrong, you got to check people. That is necessary in life, but there comes a time when you have to check yourself, like, I don't have to say this. If I do this, will it make that situation better? Probably not. So that's when you have to go back into yourself, and that's when you start remembering gratitude, having purpose, knowing that your purpose has to serve a function in order for it to be tangible. Quantum creation can only do so much. You can only have so much theory until it has to be applied. And then when you apply it, the engineering, the manufacturing, all of the physicality that goes into making it tangible, what we say real, but everything is real in our head. This is more real than anything, because all of this starts in here. Every word I'm saying is pre-thought. It's a sound. It's a whatever. It's everything. The breathing, everything I'm doing has been trained and conditioned in me for us to communicate. Just the way every other animal makes a noise, we think it's noise, but that's them communicating. We're making noise to them. We don't know how we sound to them, but the point is that it's just vibrations. So tuning into your own alignment and understanding how you vibrate is how you start to think. And how you think is how you start to speak. And how you speak is how you start to act. And when you start to act, that's when you start to manifest and you start to replicate that vibration of the love and nuance that you already know you are, but now you get to see it in the physical form, tangible form. So this is why when you start learning how to really pay attention to what genuinely makes me tick, not ticked off, what makes me tick, and what genuinely slows me down. Because there's things where it's like, ooh, I love to talk. I love to talk. But I honestly don't love to write that much. But the two go together. So I had to learn that in order for me to really let people see how serious I am about being in love with words and energy and connection, I have to give all forms of connection. May it be speech, writing, singing, dancing, all forms of the humanities is what connects us back to creativity, which is the source of nurturing mother energy and the divine feminine. But it only can work if you physically get up and do something. Physically work out, physically talk to yourself, physically, you can physically, when I'm saying physically talk to yourself, look into the mirror and speak to who you are. Hi, I see your face. I don't ever really get to see your face unless I put something up and reflect it back. Hi, Juwan, how are you? I love you. You're pretty cool. Thank you. Doesn't matter how crazy it looks. You already talk to many voices in your head. So start becoming comfortable with being in love with yourself. Because when you're in love with yourself, then you start seeing the creativity in nature and God, and how one thing adds to another to make another, and how everything unfolds within to itself and outwardly. Then you can really truly start appreciating this twin flame soulmate journey that we are all on. You just have to choose to wake up to it and start doing things that now come from a place of being autodidactic. We are all capable of being autodidactic. Just means you don't live for this side anymore, or you've learned enough about this side that it's time for you to learn about the other side. And not from a place of subjection or objectivity, simply empathy. You don't have to understand it and you don't have to believe in it, but to see if someone else is experiencing it and you know what that feeling of not being able to explain it means. Empathy is what teaches us how to love ourselves, because you see, I remember that frustration. It doesn't matter what they're saying. I remember that frustration. That is how you have to go within yourself, find yourself, love yourself, and then you join them back together. Start realizing the balance in two. You are masculine and feminine, and then whatever shell and body you have and you choose to reflect that energy through, may it be female, male, trans, pan, bi, whatever, because that's when the physical comes into play, when we have to reproduce, or it becomes to a physicality of appreciation. That's really it. None of us really choose any of this, and we know that. We can only choose how we take care of it. That's when you start becoming aligned with saying, hey, now I can hear myself feel. And when you can hear yourself feel, you can decipher what words to give it and what emotions mean to you, because now you're defining them outside of the linear teaching or didactic system that was given to us to learn, because you're only meant to learn up until a certain point, and then the rest is application. And then as you keep applying it, then it becomes an experience. Once it is an experience, now it is real. It doesn't matter how often it happens or what the statistics are or the percentage of the possibilities are. If it happened to one person, it's real. And that's how reality becomes what reality is. If it happens to enough people and they agree upon it, then we decide it's logic and that is capable of happening. But beyond that, it doesn't matter. We all have to understand that I feel what you feel. So if I feel what you feel, then I understand how I feel by giving myself a reflection of all the things that ever happened in a Rolodex to go back and say, do I like this for me, or is this somebody else's that I'm just adapting and making my own? When you can do that, then you're in a place of union and you start to see things from a whole new perspective. A whole new world. I love you guys. I hope that makes sense. It's a crazy topic, I know. We have a lot. I wanted to do these because so many people are doing twin flame reunion and twin flame journey, and they're talking about it, and everyone keeps thinking that it's just about romantic love, and it is a big part of it. But it's still even not about the romantic love, what you find the partner. Remember, a twin flame soulmate journey is about you falling in love with yourself to understand the true reflection of who you are and who you've been and what you truly deserve, and if you're capable of achieving what it takes to get to your highest ascension of that reflection. And then whatever body type or whatever fantasy your body has projected out into the world that it says it needs to look like this when it comes to you, it will reflect that. But the energy of who it is and what makes it so beautiful to you is the essence of life and the soul. And that's what you start to attract when you start to work on who you are and you love on what you love. You attract love. Remember, like energy loves like energy. Even if it's magnetized, yes, some ends of it will repel, but like energy still sticks together. That's why we have these bodies, honey. All right, I love you guys. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Again, follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Sorry, a bug just went in my throat, but I'm gonna keep going. Love you. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook. Here on my channel, I am JAH, or I am Jawan. And you can also follow me on my website at epicinity.com, where I have services as well as just beautiful blogs and writings that I do with people who I live around and friends and family that I talk to who want to just talk more about emotions and spirituality. If you want to be a part of my monthly contributor or be a writer of the month, go ahead and inbox me and I will check it out. And I would love to have you as a featured writer. Again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time. Besos. Mwah, mwah, mwah.